Let's talk a little Acadia St. Mary's. Acadia took sole possession of the AUS Conference lead this past weekend. Kyle Graves completed 14 of 32 for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns in the winning effort. St. Mary's actually had the ball for almost 10 minutes more than Acadia. Didn't matter too much, as you can see. Switch things up, St. FX Mount Allison. Clay Masikowicz not only has a fantastic name.
All-name team right there.
Yeah, he also had a fantastic day, hitting 20 of 33 moving targets with 293 yards through the air and a major. He also jogged, or is it jogged?
I think it's jogged.
Yeah, I think it's German. For 13 yards on the ground. 'Twas a big win for FX.
I went jogging this morning, actually.
There you go, over the standings. It shows. Over the standings board we go. Here's a fun fact. There's only one team in this conference with more points for than points against. The answer, St. FX, go figure they're not in first, has 88 for, 82 against. FYI, we're not expecting too many Vanier contenders out of the AUS.
So what you're saying, Ryan, is that you're not going to take any team out of the AUS this year to win the Vanier Cup?
I wouldn't bank on it.
But I bet you there's at least one sucker out there that would take it.
I know exactly who you're referring to. He's got 2 pistols, no hair, and used to wear a dashiki, Mr. Jim Mullen.
The price is wrong, boys. Coming up next, a beard.
Krown Produce supplying select Canadian retailers. Krown Produce, proud sponsors of Canada West Football and Canadian University Countdown on Shaw.
Hey, welcome back to Krown Canadian University Countdown. I'm Ryan Sullivan. It's that time once again, time for another pro profile. This time we went to the BC Lions camp and caught up with Tim Kronk. Tim Kronk took an unusual road to the CFL. After appearing in 44 games over 5 years at Bishop's University, he found himself in a bit of a rut and on the outside looking in.
Well, I went in out of college thinking that I was going to be drafted. That didn't end up happening. Eventually got a call from Hamilton at first. They were going to bring me as a workout. And then instead of going to a workout there, BC called me and signed me right away. That was also a bumpy road because I came out here to training camp. And I was released after training camp. And I was brought back in week 6 and I've been here ever since.
All right, enough of this. Work ethic had a lot to do with Kronk's journey, but can we focus on his greatest asset? His beard. Like a young Yosemite Sam, it hangs about 2.5 inches thick and stares its opponents in the eyes like a sweet glaze on a plain donut. However, such a fine beard needs a heavy dose of fine maintenance.
You got to use your shampoo conditioner, obviously, but every day I usually condition and shampoo.
Now, while Kronk's fiery red face fro has clearly led to success on the field, fellow Ginger and current Leo slinger Travis Lulay is not happy with his fullback and snapper's facial efforts.
Well, here's the thing. Tim has a pretty good red beard, but I don't know if he's full ginger because his hair doesn't match his beard. And that's a bit of a disappointment when you're talking to a guy like me. I can do the red hair and red beard. He's more of just a red face.
While filming, Tim's beard actually winked at me. Kind of strange. We're going to turn things over to Mr. Connor the Beast Hammond now. We're going to go inside the CIS now. Connor, I understand the recent international team had quite a few Canadians on it.
That's right. We're going to keep with the international theme. Last week we talked about the under-19s, how they beat the Americans down in Texas. This week we're going to go back a little further and talk about the 2012 International Bowl. Of course, Will Finch, who you can see on a Western roster, was the quarterback, and Anthony Coombs of the University of Manitoba was the big playmaker at running back. Even got a bit of a mention in Sports Illustrated. So we'll join the international team in their locker room. Here we are.
Off for something. You make history. Let's make history, dog. Don't be scared. Don't be nervous. Make humans. Make humans, baby. All right? Make history on me. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Make history. Go.
As the game kicks off, the world team immediately goes to work. But after moving the ball well on the first drive, the unthinkable happens on 3rd and less than a yard.
But it's on the ground here after the timeout, a 3rd down and short. The Blue may have it, still haven't heard a whistle, and here comes the big man. Malcolm Brown.
But while such a setback may have doomed prior World Team squads, this edition is comprised of players that expect to win. They immediately look to answer.
National Signing Day. This guy throws a heck of a football, and it's caught. Amani Cross, the running back out of the backfield, will stride on into the end zone, and the World Team answers.
And if Will Finch's 75-yard bomb was an introduction, the rest of the first half would be their coming out party, led by a small running back from Manitoba, Anthony Coombs.
The tone set as well by this World Team in the first quarter, trying to take the lead. And how about that, refusing to go down? Coombs diving into the end zone, touchdown, and they do just that from 19 yards out, and the World Team is on top.
Talk about making a great play. I don't care where you're from. That's a great run in any country.
The second half begins much like the first started, with the World Team as the aggressor.
First down and goal for the World Team. Boot forced to set up shop as the corner was setting a great job to go up and pull it down. Darrell Waugh, the defensive lineman, outstanding job for the 6'4", 285-pounder.
As the game moves to the final frame, the World Team's wildest dreams are at hand. And on the first play of the fourth quarter, Coombs again proves that nothing will get in their way.
And look at this, Coombs, who scored one earlier from 19 yards out, trying to take this one all the way to the house. Wow! Touchdown!
As always, thank you very much, Connor. Nicely done. Now we're going to get things going with the round table. It's week 3, so you guys got your feet wet. You're ready to roll. We have Andrew Wadden back on the table. Same with Mr. Jim Mullen. And, of course, from acrofoot.com over my right shoulder, Mr. JP Chouaret. Now, we'll start things out. Jim, you were recently in Saskatchewan. You can tell by that nice crispy tan he's got going on. Some record-setting news there for the Canada West.
Yeah, 9,033 showed up to the Battle of Saskatchewan at Griffith Stadium. That is a Canada West record for a regular season game. And the reason that there was success is because you have private interests really driving the bus here. I know that the athletic department at the University of Saskatchewan was open to new ideas. David Dubé took the ball, he ran with it. He markets the team. He structures the game day experience. He treats people that come into that stadium like customers. That's something different than a lot of other places do in the CIS. So full credit to David Dubé and full credit to the folks at the University of Saskatchewan. And JP, in Quebec, you also have a lot of private investors, especially with the Francophone schools, and that translates, I think, to a bonus at the gate for them too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you talk about managing a team as a business, and the top team doing that year in, year out is Laval, without a doubt. You know, lots of money coming in, that football team, with all the Tanguy organization behind that. And that, allows you to be more competitive on the recruiting aspect, but mostly it's facilities-wise. You look at Laval right now, they have the biggest crowd year in, year out, but right now it's not that new stadium, the TELUS Stadium, with that inside field. So, money helps a lot in football, and like you said, Jim, Laval and Sherbrooke to a certain extent trying to duplicate that model, but right now money's still leading the way in CIS football.
See, Jim's being modest. The ticket stub actually said featuring Jim Mullen on it. So, anyhow, turn things over to Mr. Andrew Wadden. Welcome you into the conversation here. Now, a lot of great players from the West heading over to the East. Same thing, East heading over to West, and it's making some waves. These guys are really making a name for themselves.
Yeah, national recruitment's always been a big thing amongst the CIS, and one guy that we want to focus in on this week is Garrett Sanvito. I used to call Garrett's game as a play-by-play announcer or color announcer for the BC High School football games of the week when he played for Vancouver College. Of course, he's in Western right now, running back for the Mustangs and making the Mustangs faithful, as we said earlier.
Tyler Varga, who?
Exactly. Forget about Tyler Varga. Tyler Varga obviously was the man in Western last year, but it's Garrett Sanvito this year. BC boy doing quite well in Ontario.
And now we'll keep talking East Coast football here. Some rumblings going around that McGill may be on their way to the OUA in 2013 following that 69-0 blowout loss to Laval. They were tied 0-0 before kickoff, which is amazing.
That's true. That is a fact.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But, Jim, are there any truth to these rumors?
Well, I know that McGill has applied to the OUA to possibly move to the OUA. I think the OUA might seriously consider it as well, because Carleton's coming online. That would make for an odd number of teams in the OUA, and you know that they'd love to have an even number of teams at 12. I am generally warm to the idea because I think McGill goes back against their old OQ opponents. They can get Queens in, they can get Western in. I think it can really energize the program. Plus, JP, I don't think they can necessarily stay in competition with Laval at the top of the charts with all that money that's coming in that we talked about.
Well, and you talk about Laval, you talk about money, but let's not forget McGill has received 1.5 million donation during the offseason that allowed them to bring in some top quality coach. Talk about the Donovan brothers, were well established with Mustang. Talking about Pat Bois, who was the top offensive mind in Quebec. So they bring one of the top English recruiting mind with Donovan, and one of the top French recruiting mind in Pat Bois. So right now, McGill is on the rise, and I don't see them going into OUA and right away being competitive and making it to playoffs. Right now, I think both conferences are as competitive, and for them, it's just a matter of, hey, geographically, you're in Quebec, your teams are around you. You want to save on some traveling costs. And then you want to be competitive. You want to show to your institution, that's a Quebec institution, that you want to compete and you want to be the best. And right now they're taking strides in making that. So I'm not sure they go to OUA.
Well, do you think that maybe this is something that could encourage a national interlock? Because when you take a look at some of those teams that are traditional rivals for the McGill Redmen, most of them are over there in Ontario. Maybe the time has finally come for a national interlock with all of the teams back there. Maybe the time has finally come for the AUS to put in with the RSEQ and make one conference back east.
Well, and there's a lot about what you said. First thing, AUS, RSEQ, there's a lot of distance between the schools over there. You're talking about 15 to 18-hour bus drives. No schools besides probably Laval, Montreal, have the money to take a plane for those trips. So right now, distance is a huge factor in that matter. But you're talking about the AUS having only 4 teams. You don't want the RSEQ with only 5 teams. If McGill were to leave, that would weaken the conference that is already at 6 teams. It's the minimum that you want to have. But right now, you're talking about a McGill team that's looking to be competitive. You're talking about having that national interlock, and we've been hearing about a super league for years now. And I think I like your idea of a national interlock. Everybody want to see a Laval facing a McMaster or a Calgary during the season, and not only in the finals. So that'd be a great idea to accommodate both McGill and the top teams.
Listen to the complaining about the travel. Out here in Western Canada, we have to get onto buses and planes and trains and automobiles every week to do games. So listen to the soft Easterner back there. You had some thoughts on this, Andrew.
I actually think that it wouldn't be a good thing for McGill to move to Ontario. I don't think they can compete with the likes of Western or McMaster, Queens for that matter, and some of the programs that are coming up around the OUA. I think they're actually in a good spot where they are now, and I actually agree with JP. I think they're good to stay in the queue because of the balance that it allows. 5 teams is not going to cut it. They need the 6th team. McGill should stay where they are.
Beautiful. Good thoughts, gentlemen. JP, before we say see you later, can we get a quick plug?
Well, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at JP Chouari, and on our acrofoot.com website. I'm covering CIS football week in, week out, so lots of fun so far this season.
Thank you very much, good sir. Of course, for Andrew Wadden, Jim Mullen.
They're all crazy.
Thanks for joining us on the table. We'll flip things over to the big board now. Check out the top teams in the CIS after week 4. No real surprises here. As you can see, McMaster getting 29 of the 30 votes. They remain atop the board. Calgary, only 1 of 30 dentists recommend the Dinos. All right, as always, you can find us on Twitter at CIS Countdown. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/CIS on Shaw. I'd like to thank our cast and crew. And as we head out, here's some of the national games of the week.
Krown Produce supplying select Canadian retailers. Krown Produce, proud sponsors of Canada West Football and Canadian University Countdown on Shaw.